Chemistry at Buffalo State College and sometime alternative transportation advocate. If the proposed fare increases are unavoidable, let us not forget that they will be borne by people who in many cases can least afford the increase: the poor, the working poor, the elderly, and the disabled. People who don't use public transportation for fun. They rely on it completely. The increases, however, become unacceptable when one realizes that the NFTA has never done anything to make public transportation more attractive and increase ridership and revenue. The recent increase in riders due to high gas prices had nothing at all to do with any NFTA innovation or improvement. In fact, the last innovation was the implementation of the unlimited access student bus pass program that 4 of the area's colleges, including my own Buffalo State, now enjoy. The problem is, however, that this was not the NFTA's idea. It was my proposal, and I did all of the early work getting the program off the ground. During the development of the program, it was necessary for Professor Daniel Hess of UB School of Architecture and Planning and me to more than once explain to the NFTA why their plans for the implementation of the program were wrong-headed. It was I who suggested that federal CMAQ transportation money might be used to fund a pilot program. When it turned out that the NFTA was about to return a CMAQ grant that they had been unable to spend as planned, it was I who suggested that they might see if the funding agency would let them use it to start the bus pass program. In fact, their appeal was successful and the money funded the first year of the Canisius program. My point in all of this, the NFTA is not what you would call a tightly run ship. They could louse up a one-car funeral. Is it any wonder that they need more money? Has the NFTA ever approached either the city or the county to see about starting transit pass programs for city and county workers? Of course not. This would increase ridership and bring in additional revenue. Has the NFTA ever discussed with the city the elimination of some of the surface parking lots and parking ramps that now blight the downtown and encourage and even subsidize single-occupant vehicle commuting? Of course not. The removal of each lot could be coupled with an improvement in service. All that has been done is the broadcasting of a series of rather silly TV ads that show NFTA Executive Director Meckler riding the bus. These ads are not only ineffective and undoubtedly expensive to make, but they are fundamentally misleading. Now, Mr. Meckler, I warned you this was coming. If you are a regular user of public transportation, then I will eat my hat. If the fare increases are unavoidable, then and they may be unavoidable, then at least make the system better. And here are some suggestions. And these, by the way, appeared in a letter to the editor in the Buffalo News that I had published a couple of months ago. And they're just 3 in number. First, stop changing the schedules every 3 months. There isn't another transit system on Earth that does this. The reasons for it, as explained to me by various NFTA employees, are completely nonsensical. It becomes especially annoying since the schedule racks around the city are never kept up to date. They are certainly not up to date at Buffalo State College. I checked this afternoon. And the schedules that one finds on the racks on the buses rarely have anything to do with the bus in question or with intersecting routes. Stop this idiotic practice. You have no idea how user-unfriendly this is.
Waste paper.
Connectivity. My second point, connectivity. Connectivity is essential for an effective system. Many years ago, I became frustrated with the fact that the number 23 bus, which runs along Hurdle Avenue, did not run all the way to Niagara Street, but stopped 4 blocks short. Calls to the suggestion line were useless, and at the time I was working on the transit pass program with Deborah Finn, so I called her office directly. And 1 week later, she called me to say that all 23 buses would now run to the river and connect with the number 40. This falls under the heading of what my Irish wife would call the bleeding obvious. Finally, you would know all of this if you rode your own buses and trams. Don't make silly commercials pretending to ride the bus. Use public transportation every day for commuting and shopping. Find out if the connectivity between routes is really convenient. Finally, talk to the riders. They'll give you an earful, but you might actually learn something.